Hey guys, you're watching Play More PC and this is Mayonnaise, and today we're going to be doing a Hecarim guide for jungle. I'm going to be telling you the ups and downs about Hecarim and why he's my favourite jungle, pretty much. So let's get to it. So I'm going to start off with the build I'm using. So I'm using 0921. But why? Why would I use utility for a jungler? As you know, utility is for support. So basically, it gives them faster jungle. So, I mean, Hecarim's already fast as we know. So by using utility, it's going to obviously increase his speed. It gives him more experience. As you know, because I put 21 into utility, I will gain more experience. And also, by having 21 in utility, I always take up the skill that also increases my red and blue duration buffs. So by having that, also increases my mana regen, which Hecarim has to have mana at all times. It's imperative due to his skills. If he's obviously out of mana, he is literally a sack of shit, as you would call it. He does counter a lot of other junglers by having utility because of his survivability, and obviously his having 9 and also in defensive, or whatever you want to call it. It gives him more health, obviously more, defense and, basically just more survivability. So we don't really want to go offensive with him because he's pretty much offensive as he is. If you put loads of offensive in, then I don't think you'll get much benefit out of it as you do with utility, because what you're trying to do with Hecarim is kind of let everyone else in their lanes push more than obviously just ganking and taking the kill. So you're like super uber fed and your lanes are, they don't have any kills, so you're going to be a square one still. So basically that is the main reason why I'm using utility. You can go full offense if you really want to, but that's just not for me. So basically the rune build I've started with Hecarim, well, I finished with Hecarim. I've got a movement of quintessences, which is 3 of them. So obviously that increases my speed even more due to the actual build on my skills. So basically I've gained more speed from my skills and I'm gaining more movement from my runes. So 3 movement of quintessences. I think this is necessary for junglers, any jungler that is. I mean, every jungler I build now is probably always has quintessence of speed. The next is armor. So you want to max out armor in your yellows, and armor pen, obviously that would be in your reds. You want to max 9 of them, and obviously for the blue is magic resist, because as you know, Hecarim has a lot of armor. When his build is complete, a lot of his items that do damage also give you a lot of armor. So if you're against an enemy team that has a lot of attack damage, then you've got the advantage already. So that is why I build my runes like that. But obviously if it's a magic, more magic AP team, ability power, so AP, AP team, then you would want to obviously get magic resist. So that's why I stack my runes in magic resist. And the skills with Hecarim is QWER, is Q is his main ability. You want to max his Q out as soon as possible. Is W lets him do damage in a area around him and also steal life from every enemy that's actually in the area. So he actually heals by using it. As you can see here on the wraiths, I'm draining their life and also doing damage with that, and also popping some more damage with my Q. His E is his charge, so basically this is used for ganks. You want to like kind of hit his E on the enemy as they're running away, so you want to knock them back a bit, which normally forces their flash out. So if you force the flash, then jobs are good in, because flash is what you really want to force out, because I think it's got, what is it, 260 second cooldown or something. So that's the main thing you wanna force out instead of forcing out their ulti, which will probably which is a cooldown of probably like what 50 seconds. So a flash forced is better than an ulti forced. So also his ulti, which is R, is I'm not too good with names at the minute. I always forget what the skills are called. I just know what they do. So his R is basically he charges with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horsemen alongside him, and this actually also fears the enemy team. So whoever is in range within the horsemen, it fears them and also does damage. So you can actually use it at a really short range. If you use it at a short range, it will finish his ulti sooner. But obviously the horsemen carry on, so they carry on to the full maximum range, which is really useful. It's really nice to use when you want to gank as well, because obviously it fears for, I think it's like 1.5 seconds, which is a pretty long fear in a big fight. So so jungling, it's going to go through jungle. Basically, you want to take wolves first, which I normally do, and then obviously if I can get blue with smiteless, that would be fucking fantastic, because there's nothing better than having a smiteless blue. But obviously, unfortunately, in this game I didn't get smiteless blue, so I had to use my smite and blah blah blah. It just took me longer to get red, and those ganks didn't really get there as fast as I thought they would. So get a smiteless blue if you can, then wraiths, and then straight after wraiths get red, because as soon as you get red you're going to be level 3. So when you're level 3, I always check the lanes just to make sure a gank is not available. Well, a gank is available, not available. A gank is available, because then obviously I can get that gank and secure that gank. Hopefully I can secure it for the lane like I did in this one, as I did it on a Kali. I come up from after red, used my E on it to knock her back, and as I knocked her back, as you seen earlier, I knocked her back towards the turret. So then obviously the turret gained a hit as well. I popped my Q in, my W, and then started spamming Q, which would obviously damage her within her smoke screen. So she's got no other choice but to flash out. She flashes out, stay on the chase with her. Twisted gets the kill, secured the lane. So basically he's going to be a bit more OP than her in the lane fights, so that's exactly what we want with Hecarim. So that was that. If you don't manage to get a gank, then all your lanes are pushing really hard, then I would just go roaming in the jungle, just get some more experience. Just don't hang around in the brush, because you're not really gaining anything. You want to be getting those levels as well as because you want to keep up with their jungler, the enemy team's jungler. So that's probably what you want to do. But normally 9 times out of 10 I'd say about 7 times out of 10 you will get a gank option. So it's just checking their names, depending on what side of the map. Obviously when I finish at red, I'll probably gank middle or bottom, more bottom than middle, depending on the character as well. If it was Fizz, I don't really tend to gank Fizz as much, because obviously the skills, he can do that bounce and then he can flash out, so it doesn't really secure a gank, does it? So he's got a lot of survivability. If there's an enemy without survivability at all in middle, then I will prefer to do the gank. Like, it depends what their what they rely on in their skills. So basically after the gank, then roaming. The only thing with Hecarim is that if you do get an invade from the enemy team, it will push you down a hell of a lot. You will be behind on jungle. Depending on how it goes, you want to keep roaming, and if they do invade your blue, then just go to their blue, because if their whole team's there, then if 3 of you go in, so if there's 1 from top, 1 from middle, and you near your blue, and their whole team's at blue, they got 2 extra characters. So sometimes it's not really worth asking bottom to come back up and try and gank them, because it normally goes terribly wrong. Depending on how skilled the players are as well, of course, but I'd prefer just to go for their blue and secure that, and then you will be a bit behind, but I mean, because of the utility, this is when utility comes in with the extra experience, then I think it's about 8% or 10% more experience, so you can really catch up with that. I know it's only it's not that much, but you can obviously catch up because of his movement speed as well, Hecarim, so you can catch up with the jungler really fast. I've actually had the enemy team after the game sometimes say, Hecarim, how the fuck are you level so and so when I've done this? I've got all this farm and blah blah blah. I'm just like, well, obviously because it's utility. I don't say that to them, but it's obviously because of the utility and obviously your speed. So that all boils down to that. When you're checking your lanes, make sure your E obviously is available, because that's your your initiator, or even your R, which is your main initiator. Try and save that if you can. As I did there with Akali, she used a smoke screen as I come in. Because I used my W and my Q, I got a bit of damage on her, and she must have did damage to a minion because she appeared in the smoke screen. As she appeared, as my E was available, I hit her with my E, which pushed her back to the turret, obviously, and then got another kill. Well, got a hit on her, then got a kill. As you see here, I used my R, kill Akali, and then back off. I knew she was going to smoke screen from the start, so that's why I didn't, run in normally. So by using my R, because of the range of R as well, it's gonna obviously hit her, fear her at the same time, which will obviously reveal her in the smoke screen, and then obviously I can pop my W and my Q and just keep queuing until she's dead, like I did. Obviously she was on really low health, so it didn't take me too long. The only thing you gotta watch out with Akali is if she smoke screens near the jungle, she normally flashes through the trees and obviously gets away, which is a bit annoying. There's nothing much you can really do unless you force a flash out in early game, and then just keep an eye on, how many, until it flashes back up. So probably about, 250 seconds or something like that. So they're the good things to counter Akali with, is your E, W, and Q. Even your R as well, as I demonstrated earlier there. So she's not really a player that you should really ban if you're playing Hecarim, because she's not really a threat as such. If they're really good at Akali, then you can still, she's not really a threat as much. Just make sure, obviously, she's not fed, and the player in that lane knows how to play against her, and just take it easy until a gank comes, and then you can kind of get on the ball with that. As you've seen there, I brought Sheen a bit earlier on as my first main necessity of my items. What Sheen basically does is, when you use your spells, so which is every move Hecarim has, the damage you did with that spell, obviously, well, I think it's the next attack you do does damage, and then Sheen does an extra 140 damage, I think it is, or something. So the good thing with that is obviously it stacks with your Q. So because your Q has such a small cooldown anyway for like 1.5 seconds, you can Q, which stacks your Sheen. Sheen hits, your attack hits, so you do 2 attacks in one. Sheen cools down, your Q cools down again. You then use your Q again, Sheen stacks, and you just keep obviously repeating that process. So you're getting like 2 attacks in like 1.5 seconds. That's probably the best thing with Sheen. So you want to get Sheen as soon as possible, because it does secure hell of a lot of ganks. As you've seen there as well, I come down, use my E, as I told you before, like the initiator, jump into Lux, manage to smash Lux in 2, because obviously she's low on life. As I seen Akali get away, I use my R, which obviously, which boosts my speed up as well. So I managed to fear her at the same time. Twisted manages to get in, stun her with his cards, and then obviously takes the kill. So makes him a bit more fed. Exactly what we want. The only bad thing with Hecarim is that he has an expensive build. If you don't manage to get, to secure a gank or get any assists, and you're still roaming, then I would probably say upgrade your Hunter's Machete first. So obviously you can farm the jungle a bit quicker, because obviously your Hunter's Machete does more damage, and then when you upgrade it, it restores your HP and mana, MP5 like over time. So that's the so you got more survivability in jungle, and you get your health back a bit more. But he has got an expensive build. Obviously, if you get the kill straight away, then after you get your E, which is after red, and you get the kill, like I did with, I got the assist with Akali, then Because I had a fair bit of gold, then I decided to go with Sheen, because obviously that will secure my ganks in a lot of ways. The only bad thing with Hecarim is that when using your E, if you get stunned, like obviously Lux did there, which I normally get stunned by Lux because that fucking stun move she has is pretty fast. Then obviously you won't, it's a waste of your E, and then you have to wait for it to cool down. So that can really fuck your shit up. Especially with brushes as well. If you use your E and then you walk into a shroom, or you walk into something else that you shouldn't and it stuns you, then that's also a waste of your E. So depending on who's in what lane, then I normally tend to be careful. If it's Teemo, then I'll tend to not go into the center of the bush, maybe just go around the bush, which is going to help me not get stunned and secure that. So that's probably the best thing with that. Hecarim's counters. I'm not too sure what Hecarim's counters are. I haven't really had any drastic battles that I thought, oh shit, I get absolutely fucked against this character. The only one I would personally say beware of is fast moving characters such as Garen, like tanky, fast moving survivability characters. I tend not to gank really unless it's early game, because obviously at level 60, they start getting armor, and they start like getting loads of health. So I normally tend to go for squishies, which is a lot easier at bottom. But obviously if they've warded bottom, I normally tend to go around their jungle and maybe like jump in with my ulti, because obviously Hecarim's ulti you can actually use through the jungle as well. So if I wanted to ulti from this dragon here, I could actually use my R and go through the side of the jungle. So it actually just save you on your deaths as well, because the thing with Hecarim, obviously, because you've took sprint and you haven't actually took flash, you don't have a great deal of survivability in massive fights. So if there's like 4-on-1 or 3 enemy players on Hecarim, then the only best other way to get out is probably use your ulti, because obviously it sprints as well, so it speeds you up, which is probably a bonus. It's better to sacrifice an ulti than sacrifice your life in this game. You'll feed them more, and then you get more deaths, and you have to wait, like, especially end game when you're waiting for like 50 seconds. So it is worth wasting your ulti and actually surviving rather than dying. The best thing with his ulti is that where he lands, obviously he fears them. So if they're running back towards their tower and if you use your ulti just in front of them, they'll actually start running backwards. So obviously then the player in that actual lane can catch up, stun them, stun lock them, get them down, for a nice fast gank, which is really nice. In this game personally, I think obviously because I give Twisted 2 kills, he gets stupidly fed. He's a good player as well, and then he starts like at level 6, he starts teleporting around the map and getting extra kills like he did at top when he threw his cards at I think it was it Garen or something, and then he actually hits Kali at the same time or someone or something like that. He hits 2 people, but obviously Vi gets the kill as well, and so does Twisted. He gets the kill. So obviously at this time 23-8, yeah, it was a good match. I think I probably could have ganked a bit more, but obviously the lanes were so pushed that I couldn't physically gank anymore in this game. I did I think I did pretty well in this. I'm not too sure what the score was. I think I got a lot of assists. So I mean, when I first played Hecarim, I was getting more kills than anything, but it doesn't always work out. I'd rather feed more players than just feed yourself. And obviously they know it's over, so they surrender this fight. The last actual fight we get in this is actually coming up now, when all of their team comes from middle, because obviously they know we're pushing top. And Aldir comes, he goes to engage, but then obviously he sees there's me and Vi. Caitlyn comes with low health, Garen comes behind her, he takes the kill. I'm wondering at the minute here what to do. I have to go in. I'm checking my map as well, see where Karma is. She's a bit too far away. So I do try and help her by using my ulti and trying to fear him for a little bit, but she obviously, you know, they're on her, so I just managed to use my E. Obviously, E's a great way to get out of fights as well, so I just use E, use my sprint, they surrender, won the match. So hope you guys liked my Hecarim guide. I hope you liked the video, and yeah, if you want to watch more videos, then please subscribe, rate and comment on my YouTube channel, and if you've got any questions, please ask me, and I'll check them out. So peace out, guys.
The fuck is that? Is that a crane?
Yeah, he's going to move our houses, isn't he?
Burn his axe down, everything's cool.
Maybe we should burn your house down for saying that.
Yeah, I think we should as well.
Yeah, we should.
Look,
I
you
have no
could,
idea
you
where
could-
James is though.